most of you guys leave after the first 30 seconds of our episodes, so I promise we got a great show in store for you guys.
All right, yeah, this is gonna be a big week right here. So let's just go straight to it. The biggest game of the week, Georgia, Texas. All right, so this was an interesting game. Georgia, first half, completely dominated. I mean, I thought it was gonna be a blowout. I think a lot of these really big games this year have been like that. I mean, you saw Texas, Georgia, or Alabama, Georgia, how that, Alabama really took the lead. And, I thought Texas would make a comeback. They had a strong third quarter, but it just never happened. I think Carson Beck, he was just okay. I feel like those 3 picks, no passing touchdowns, 23 for 41. He is not that great of a player. That's why I do not think the Georgia Bulldogs can win a national championship. Although, Quinn Ewers just didn't have quite a supporting cast that Georgia does with their defense and some of their skill players. So that's kind of thing was a difference maker.
Yeah, and I think this is this was by far the biggest test that Texas has had, and I guess aside from they play Tennessee, right? Yeah. Aside from Tennessee, they really haven't been tested at all. So we learned a lot about Texas today. They threw an Arch Manning for 6 snaps, or I think more than 6 snaps, but he got 6 attempts. Nothing out of him. We learned a lot about Texas today, and we learned a lot about Georgia today. And we also learned that the SEC is by far the best conference in college football right now.
Yeah.
I'll take Alabama, Tennessee. Another game where we learned a lot. Alabama now 5-2, ranked 15 in the AP poll. We finally recorded our episode after the AP poll came out, so we now know that they're number 15. Milroe, 239 yards, one touchdown. If we're talking about a championship caliber team, that's not a good enough performance against Tennessee, right? Tennessee was life and death against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is really bad. But Tennessee kind of recreated that one win where the goalpost was thrown into the river. They were down and they took the lead and they held it. Great resilience from Tennessee. They've moved up a lot in the AP poll as well. Very good performance from them for sure.
Yeah. Michigan, Illinois. The big matchup, Big Ten. So Michigan just can't find the quarterback. They have, who is this even? Jack Tuttle. I think this is his first or second start of the season. They've been trying pretty much anyone. I think he was a third stringer to start the season. They're just throwing guys in at this point. No one's doing well. Michigan, it's tough. They can't really get a good passing game going. Illinois, I think Illinois is a very solid team. They got the win. It was weird, but they were able to pull it off. So yeah, good game by Illinois.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it personally. I'm a huge fan of the Mountain West. West Coast, Group of 5 football. I want to talk about UNLV, Oregon State. Our rotating segment for the week will be about this game and the 12 seed for the college football playoff. So we'll touch on that later. But outstanding performance from the Rebels. Ricky White, the third, huge, really highly touted prospect, but wanted to stay local and in Vegas. And he's really helped this team out tremendously. Now that they're 6-1 with 1 loss to Syracuse. Hajj Malik Williams, stepping in for I don't know his name, but the guy who redshirted. And he threw for 200 yards with a touchdown and a pick. Not an amazing performance, but with 65 rushing yards, definitely enough to beat a pretty decent Oregon State team.
All right. So I hate to talk about it, but USC did have a game this week. Horrible. We started off the first half well, which we don't usually do.
I hate SC.
We got, we could not stop the pass. 373 yards, unacceptable. Yeah, no, what are we doing? Lincoln Riley, I honestly think he's equal to Clay Helton.
Right.
He is. He's basically just Clay Helton 2.0, except his contract's 8 times more buyouts, so we can't buy him out. We were scared to buy out 10 million. Now we're looking at 80 million. So we're gonna be stuck with Lincoln Riley for a few more years, and he has to turn it around. I mean, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Right. A few things here. One, my desire to like do these episodes has definitely decreased now that we have a losing record. I'm not gonna lie. Some may consider me spoiled for that, but it's been super disappointing. Two, it's not a talent issue. We have a lot of explosive guys. Mekhi Lemon comes to mind. Deuce Robinson's size is really advantageous. He had a great touchdown where he like knocked away all the defenders. Kyron Hudson, another very versatile, very solid player. Woody Marks, yes. The running game's definitely improved. The defense is there. I mean, we Kamari Ramsey is a great and amazing safety. He stopped some huge plays by the Terrapins, but just we can't execute. Like every single game, we've had a lead in the fourth quarter and we're not able to execute. I think something like 200 teams like in FBS history have all like come in to this fourth quarter like with leads through the first 7 games, and only one other team has finished with a losing record in those 7 games. So it's not a talent issue; it's a mindset issue, it's a mentality issue. Some poor clock management as well. So it's extremely nothing but disappointment for the past few years from SC. It's a very, very grim loss, and hopefully we'll be able to turn it around against Rutgers because they're not that great. They lost by 3 to UCLA. So, yep.
So let's go to the rotating segment for this week. Let's talk about our group of 5 favorites for the college football playoffs. So as everyone knows, that 12th seed or maybe even lower, will be taken by a group of 5 team. Has to be done. One group of 5 team has to make the college football playoffs. So, Andrew, who do you think is gonna make it?
I think the obvious favorite here would be Boise State. Ashton Jeanty, Heisman candidate, and I agree. With this like conclusion that people have made. Aside from UNLV, which is this Friday, super excited for that. Boise State's got a pretty easy schedule. I mean, they'll probably go undefeated aside from like the loss to Oregon, and if they come out on top against UNLV, they'll be at the top of the conference. They'll probably win the conference championship when they likely play UNLV again. But to Ashton Jeanty, he's averaging like 200 yards a game. He's putting up stupid numbers, 11 yards a carry. Like this is like even against Oregon, like the number 1 team in the nation. I mean, they lost by 3. I mean, this team is super good. They're highly ranked. They'll do it for me.
Yeah. So there's a little scenario that would play out. What if we found an undefeated Army versus an undefeated Navy? Could you imagine that? That would be one of the greatest games of all time. Like, yes, I know Army. I said the one thing stopping is Army versus Notre Dame. That's gonna be tough. If Army can pull off a win against Notre Dame, man, that is gonna be one of the best games almost ever. I mean, that's just gonna be like crazy.
For sure.
I wanna see that game. I wanna see Army versus Navy. I just think that'd be awesome. Like, is it gonna happen? Probably not. But I would really like to see Army in the college football playoff. I like the way they play. I tuned in like one of the games, and it's exciting to watch. You never know what's gonna happen. A lot of misdirection. They're all really tough. They're scrappy, and I think it's just a great team.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the 12 seed in the college football playoff is kind of like a fun wild card. I mean, who knows how well like whatever team occupies that role will actually do, because they'll probably have a pretty tough game. But I think against like the number 5 team, and that could be a whole host of really, really like strong teams. But I think whether it's Army, Navy, Boise State, UNLV, maybe even like Liberty or whatever. I think that'll be a really fun game for sure.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to. All right, so next week, there's going to be some big games next week. There's going to be some a lot of big for what I would say is for non-power 5 teams. This is probably the biggest week of the season. So right now, in my opinion, there's 4 main teams that I think have the best shot at making college football playoffs. It's Army, Navy, UNLV, Boise State. We've already talked about that.
Yep.
Boise State, UNLV. That's gonna be a big game. And then Navy plays Notre Dame. If Navy can pull off something against Notre Dame, this will be very exciting.
For sure. Unfortunately, Boise State and UNLV are in like basically the same time slot. However, that is going to be like the featured game for this weekend. If USC plays like USC, and we lose to Rutgers, I'll be sure to tune into that game. I do want to talk about Nebraska, Ohio State for a sec though. Ohio State, aside from playing Oregon, they haven't really been tested all that much. And Nebraska, they're 5-2 with 2 losses to pretty like premier, pretty strong programs. Although no one's gonna like have them ranked or anything. I think this will be like I think this will have some Ohio State fans on edge for sure. Because Royola from Nebraska is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Over 1,600 passing yards on the season is very strong from him. And Ohio State hasn't proved anything at like the quarterback position. So I think that'll be a fun matchup for sure.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. You see how Nebraska did last week?
They got killed. Yeah, I know. I know they got killed. I was trying to. I know that they'll get killed, but I was trying to I don't know, make things interesting because I know they're good games.
56-7 versus Indiana. Indiana's a good football team. They're not that good. Ohio State, it's not gonna be close. Here's one I think is gonna be close: Navy, Notre Dame. Navy, they're gonna be scrappy, and they're a very interesting team. I mean, very interesting. It's a more balanced team this year, I'll say that much. Usually you think Navy, they're going to run the triple option. They're going to pass for 20 yards a game. This year, they've passed for 888 yards. That's not that much, but that's more than normal. I think that's why they're balanced offense. They have a fullback. Their quarterback gets all the carries. It's a lot of misdirection, a lot of trickery. You're not going to see like a normal play a lot. I think it's going to be a very interesting game.
All right. Although I may have overhyped Nebraska a little bit too much, one team that I have not overhyped is Illinois. They're number 20 in the nation. I personally think that's like a little bit low. I think they should be above a few teams. I mean, it's hard to put them, after undefeated teams, but talent-wise, they're ahead. It was only a loss against the third best team in the nation and a win against Michigan, a pretty clean win at that. They stack up against Oregon. Now, I think Oregon will win this game, as most people do. I think it'll be another interesting test for Oregon, outside from Ohio State. They haven't really played anybody except for Boise State. But I think this game will be super interesting. It's a conference game, and Illinois has, although albeit not amazing, shot at making the Big Ten playoff. If Penn State loses a few games and Indiana drops a few games, it very well could be Oregon and Illinois matching up again at the end of the season. So I think this would be kind of a fun precursor to that.
Yeah. So let's go to Alabama, Missouri. Missouri's a fraud. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
They got blown out by Texas A&M, and now we won 2 games in a row. Yeah, you guys beat UMass. They should not be D1. I mean, they're terrible. And you guys beat an Auburn team that's 2-5 by 4 points. So, no, I mean, Missouri's a fraud. They're going to get beat by Alabama by at least 20. At least. That's what I think about this game.
Just one quick thing to add on. Alabama's going to have like a fire lit underneath them. 2 tough losses already this season. They're going to destroy Missouri for sure. I don't know what the odds are on the game, but I'd bet in favor of Alabama if you're going to bet. I don't condone betting that.
Here, do you want to take next one?
Yeah, I'll take Texas Vandy. Vandy's at number 25. They're 5-2 with a tremendous win against number 15 Alabama, and Texas is coming off of a loss. So So I mean, I think Texas is gonna win this game. I think Vanderbilt's overrated. I think Texas is gonna need like this is a pretty solid win. I mean, Vandy's 5-2. This is like one of their best seasons in program history. So I think Texas will take this cleanly. Arch Manning might get some snaps in if Ewers isn't up to standard, so that might be fun to watch because Arch Manning has not been tested really against any tough opponents thus far. Not a whole lot to say about this game.
All right, let's look at LSU, Texas A&M. This will be a fun one. I think that, both teams have one loss to a solid team, but a team that, maybe hasn't panned out of what they should have, where Notre Dame has not looked as good as everyone thought at the start of the season, as well as USC. I think these are two very solid teams. I think it's going to be close. I do think LSU is going to pull it off. I just feel they have they're slightly stronger through the air. I feel like that Texas A&M doesn't really have that guy as a quarterback. I know they kind of been switching between Marcel Reed and Connor Wham. But I don't really think they have like a certified like good option through the air. So I think that's what's going to stop them from being a really solid team like LSU.
Yeah, Aggies don't have any great wins. I mean, they barely beat Arkansas, barely beat Florida, and those are two like all right teams. The win against Missouri is really what propelled them so high in the AP poll, but Missouri is like not a good team. So I think LSU is actually gonna win by more than many people like assume that they would. Because LSU is like they're a clear top 10 team and like one like really like fluke loss to SC because SC is not good.
USC sucks. Kansas State. We'll go through it. Kansas State's gonna win. They don't play that many good teams, but Kansas sucks.
Yep.
SMU Duke. I'm gonna just talk about this because I think these are two 6-1 teams. I think they both overperformed what you think. I actually like Duke here. They played nobody, but SMU hasn't played anyone good either. I think SMU is the favorite. But I feel like Duke can pull up an upset here.
I think it'll be a fun game. I do think SMU is gonna win. Both very untested teams, but I mean with a win against like Louisville. I think SMU and a very solid win against TCU, only a loss to BYU, and BYU is pretty good. So I think SMU is going to pull it off here. I'm going to have to disagree, but again, I think it'll be really close.
All right. So let's talk about USC. The last game of the week that we probably will talk about. How about USC? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're slated to play Rutgers. I don't know like what the odds are. I assume that they're favored, but Rutgers is a winning record and SC has a losing record. However, Rutgers has had some pretty like bad losses lately, and so and especially against like the loss to UCLA and the loss to Nebraska. Some pretty bad losses for the Scarlet Knights. So we have to win this game. It would be incredibly, I cannot stress this enough, embarrassing if we lost.
Yeah, no. Right now, the season's pretty much over. We're just not trying to get embarrassed. I mean, you can look at the team. We are a better team. I can't say that enough. We're so much better than a team like Rutgers. So much better. I think we can pull it off. I don't know.
Nothing's a given with this team.
Nothing's a given with this team. A little bit more competent of a team. We gotta start making every game close. I mean, we can't win close games. I think we've seen that enough. But, no. If we lose to Rutgers, we're gonna have to figure out how to pay that $80 million buyout. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but, yeah.
Yeah, if the buyout was like $8 million, for example, Riley'd probably already be fired.
Yeah, but $80 million is a lot.
It's a lot. All right, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully the episode wasn't too long. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hi, Mom, because you're like, our parents are probably the only people who are still watching, and maybe Colin's grandma. I don't know. But if anyone who we don't know is still watching, Please like and
Please
subscribe,
like
or
and
dislike if you
subscribe.
didn't like it.
Yeah, dislike if you have
yeah,
to.
yeah. Please put something in the comment section.
Click one of the buttons. Click everybody.
Yeah, click everybody. Pretend you're like a
click,
5-year-old on
click,
like your
click,
like
click.
mom's phone. Just like press every single button.
Click.
Yeah. All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you.